the show. Bass and Bonsai back in the house. We're gonna get back out on the water. We're just not there yet. So I got some news. Good, bad, glad, sad. Got an unboxing to do. See what we got from AliExpress. But before I do, while it's on the top of my head and I can remember it, and I wanted to talk about it. If you guys remember right, I went and picked up this reel at Rogers Sporting Goods, and I just got back from basically trying to get an oil change, Rogers Sporting Goods, and the gym. But I took the loose rod back to Rogers. I didn't have time to really see if I wanted to exchange it for another rod, so I just returned it. But if you remember right, I talked about it. It doesn't fit right. I didn't get the Elite one. I had just the TP1 or whatever, was a $140 rod, $130 or whatever it was, and it doesn't match up with this reel like I thought it would. That's original. When I bought it was for that, but then so I took it back. I think instead of trying to find another rod to match this to, I think I'm going to leave this on. I'm going to put it on and leave it on the Super Destroyer to see how I like it. I think instead of leaving this guy on the Super Destroyer, I think I'm going to put this on it and see how I like that. The gear ratio is a little different. This is I think this is like a 7.5, which is still high speed. Like it'll get the job done for what the Super Destroyer does. Yeah, 7. It's down there on the deal. So we've got 8.5-1 is what I had on it, and that's 7.5-1. Actually, for the way I've been using the Super Destroyer kind of as a jig rod and for a spinnerbait rod, this will probably actually even be better, maybe. But I think I'm going to put that on the Super Destroyer. If you remember right, I got the new Steez. I think I'm going to put that on the blade. I'm just going to change knobs, really, and that's all I'm going to mess with. I may change a couple little cosmetic things, but just I'm definitely going to put cork knobs of some kind. I don't know if I'm going to go very big or just small cork knobs. And I like the way that feels on the blade. It'll be a lightweight. It'll be about the lightest weight combo I've maybe ever had to throw chatterbaits, but maybe not. And I don't remember what it weighed. I've had it. It's in videos, but if you guys remember right, I had a Fantasista rod with the MG Extreme 2 that was my favorite combo there for a while to throw chatterbaits. The blade is close to that and a little softer, so like they stay pinned. Like I did lose some chatterbait fish, but back then it was a whole nother era. I believe when I was running that combo was before the jackhammers came out, before they kind of went smaller. That was definitely me mainly throwing half-ounce the Z-Man original chatterbaits. So it was a little stouter, a little stiffer. Like right now, if the Z-Man originals, I'd probably throw them on the Super Destroyer before I would the blade. But with these AliExpress knockoffs or the jackhammers or the like mini maxes and stuff, they're a little different kind of mindset for how I fish anyway. I know that was kind of like took a little turn there. So I'm kind of up in there on first of all, I don't really need any more rod and reels, but if you guys remember right, I've been talking about, because I got my hands on the new Tatula looking at it, and it is technically, other than with this spool, the cheapest way to get a Boost Daiwa reel now is with no longer with the Zillion. The Tatulas now have it, the 100, which I like it the best, and then the 150 also has a boost. Well, there is another Boost spool reel available from China. If you guys watched the reel test also, you probably seen him talking about it. He didn't buy one. I don't think he plans on it, but he was showing it. So the Daiwa Salamanduras, we've had the one here, the smaller, like 70 size, like the Alphas, and Charles has it now. I kind of don't like those frames. They're a little too small for my hands. So there's not a lot of info out on that one the reel test. Looked at some pics. I did, though, I tracked down, I'm not even sure if it's I think it's a guy over in China, I believe, that puts out videos, but I don't know what he was saying, But I watched the video long enough on his unboxing that he grabbed the reel and he held the spool and he did that with the Salamandura. So the Salamandura version of the, basically, I think is the Tatula 100, because if you go look at any pics or whatever, it says it's a 150, but it's definitely not the frame of the Tatula 150 that just came out here in the States. I think it is the frame of the Tatula 100, but then the top piece is different, and it's the Salamandura that looks just like almost the coloring of the Iron Man, right? Mach 5 kind of thing. So that reel is probably the cheapest way. You can go buy a Daiwa reel that has hyperdrive, a boost spool, and a drag clicker. Because the Tatulas here, no Tatula comes out with the drag clicker. I think only a few of the different Steez models and this Zillion. You guys can correct me if I'm wrong. I think somebody had told me at one time that the older Steez A's, and the Steez A2 now does, I believe, too. So anyway, right now on AliExpress, you can get the Tatula 100 for like $155, $162, or $162. The Salamandura 150, which I believe is like the 100, is going to palm almost like the 100, except the top piece is a little different, is $177. So you still technically could get the Tatula from AliExpress, order the $12 drag clicker thing, and go that way. So that's probably what I may end up doing. So if you have any questions on that, I think how I found that video, some of the videos I've seen on it, was if you punch in Salamandura 150 2024, I think you'll find the videos that have that one. If you guys know the one I'm talking about, it's got kind of the center of it is more of like a goldish color. It's the only Salamandura that looks quite like that. They're either maroon or they've got a black center, or all maroon on almost every other one except for that one. What's going on, Bruce? That name's familiar. Some of you guys are going to come back in like, oh, Charlie's doing bass fishing stuff again. So, yeah. Bass fishing, crazy expensive rod and reel combos, and the cheapest baits you can buy, right? Because the perishables, the stuff that you're just like, why am I going to spend $10 for 8 baits that one fishing trip, if the bite's on, are gone? So actually this has nothing to do with bass fishing other than I needed this. So the unboxing is actually for my new, hopefully good chest harness. So if you guys are looking to record videos, whether it be on your phone, I think this has a phone deal, or whatever. I had a chesty. I've had a couple different chesties, but the last one I had, I'll be honest, I thought I used it when I was going to the range and stuff, but I totally lost it. So this would be worthwhile, you guys, looking at this too. This is something I think I've only ever had to use it once. I had the nut was crazy tight. It's kind of like a wrench for these. That goes in there and you can put more power to it, but I just do it by hand. So yeah, this looks just like the old one I had. It's just a chest harness, chest rig. The only new thing, I think this is identical to the last one I had. The only new thing that they didn't have back in the day was, so yeah, these are common. I think this was like $7.50 for everything. This thing is, let me see here. So we've got the regular one. This clips in your GoPro. I've got the GoPro still and all the mounts for that. So you got a few more stuff like that. But then this thing, I don't know if it's going to work worth a darn or not. But you can actually, like if I wanted to say, if I had good enough service and I wanted to do like a live with my phone and have the chest harness be out actually, and I may be doing it like right out front if I'm wanting to do some cast testing and put you guys, on a chesty kind of thing. we have this option. So your phone goes in here. So that would definitely, you know, you'd probably actually have to watch going too tight to crack your screen maybe, but you tighten your phone into that. I think, what does this do? Oh yeah, so you can, you know, depending on which angle you want, straight up and down, sideways, whatever. So that's good. Where's, I'm guessing this goes here. That looks and feels cheap. Like, why is it screwing into that? Where? And I don't, there's my Phillips. Hang on. Something don't feel right with this thing. I would think this isn't supposed to screw in like that. Yeah, I think it's just tight tolerances. I think it's supposed to spin freely. It was kind of like stiff, like I was going to strip something out. There is hardly no threads right there. It's supposed to go which way? Well, you know me. I don't look at instructions, but if you look down here, that's sunken into that. There's hardly any threads there, so if I tried to screw it onto that, it looks like there's no way it's going to be grabbing enough, so you'd have to go in through this way. Maybe you go in, no, you got to go out here, because then this needs to go to here. I don't know how that's going to work. This goes, and I guess you could configure it whichever way you get it to rig up. So anyway, that's going to be, I'll figure it out how to put that so I have it on the chesty, or you don't see it now, but I've got like a couple different clamp mounts that have extension arms to set my phone. Could even be doing a live stream out on the boat or whatever. If I can figure out a way, and you guys comment if you know ways to get like a, you know, other than getting Starlink kind of thing, I'd like to be able to be actually out on the water and do like a short live stream. And hopefully this is coming in clear. I've been trying to work on, we've got a brand new, like the Wi-Fi is brand, like everything's new. I just think we don't have a very great, you know, network system where I'm at right here. So anyway, hopefully it's all coming through and you can see this, but the plan would be to get out on the water and maybe just do a quick live or an hour-long live or something, because I could always run, you know, a charger off my phone. I mean, I could go all day. I could do this all day, right? So yeah, I got all excited, thought I had a bunch of baits, and I forgot all about this thing that I had to order since I lost. And I guarantee you, this just showed up right now. If not tonight, by this weekend, I probably will find my old one. It'll probably just pop up, and I'll be like, oh, who put that there? And then I'll remember that I did. But I guess a spare, an extra, is no big deal. So yeah, this, what is this for? I guess this is just extra security, maybe? Because I saw this somehow. I don't know. I'm going to have to look at the diagram. But this is basically to go on over your phone to, like, I guess help hold it. I guess it would go through here, and then you pull each corner up and over your phone and then lock that. So there's like, that phone is not coming out of this, but that kind of looks funky how that would hold up. But I'll figure it out. I'll figure it out. I got fishing on my mind, not messing with this stuff. So let me actually move it out of the way somewhere. Let me throw all this somewhere where I'm going to lose it too. And then we'll talk fishing stuff before I get out of here. Oh, yeah, whoa, look out. So, I'm up in the air. Let's talk about this. I got different baits coming. I got some stuff coming from... Where do I got stuff from? Okay, I got... The majority is coming from AliExpress because they're the cheapest. But I also have some stuff coming from Tackle Warehouse, mainly... maybe some soft plastics, but mainly... maybe no soft plastic. Maybe it's just all rattle traps. Lipless cranks coming. Some of the bigger ones I'm going to try. I got some of the smaller ones coming from AliExpress. And then I'm kind of up in there on what else I want to mess with. I mean, I just need to get out and start fishing and break out all these other things that are just sitting here waiting to be used. But I'm up in the air on my rod and reel combos because I had this on the blade. I plan on putting this on the blade. I got this. I plan on putting it on a Super Destroyer. So technically, that leaves me, these two are now homeless, right? I'm not going to send them to the fire department or shelter, so I need to find something for these two poor, lonely rods to go on. Now, reels. I need to find two rods that are worthy of these caliber of reels. I could put them on a lightning rod, but no, we don't want to put that on a lightning rod. I tried to put the lures on a lures rod, but I can't talk myself into $300 and some for the rod that this would go on, because before I do that, I'll just buy another P5 Destroyer Mega Bass before I spend that much money on a, no offense, but on a lures rod. I was up at Rogers, and I still technically, I guess I could. I could go pick up a couple of the those Kage rods. Do look nice. They've only got two that are under 7 foot though, so I would have to, if I wanted any more than that, because the ones that actually feel pretty good are 7 footers. They got a 7 foot. It's kind of like a light frog jig rod, 7 footer that actually feels. You know, it's only $200, so it's not going to feel as good as like the Super Destroyer, but it basically feels kind of like the Super Destroyer, just a little longer. The Super Destroyer is 6'9", I believe. And I'm sure it's a little heavier. It's got a full cork, but it's probably just as balanced. And I thought about doing that. But if I go that route, I also had thought about picking up the Salamandura reels, because the Kage, the Daiwa rods have like a red reel seat. But I don't know if I want to do that. I technically don't need to get that. I guess I probably just need to get out and reacquaint myself with where in the lineup, if I'm lacking anything. Because everything from the Poison Adrena, like everything kind of overlays each other already. I mean, other than really buying a real high-end BFS rod, because I've got one, two, between the Feeling, which is sort of ultralight fast, maybe moderate, but it's kind of between a moderate and a fast action, and pretty much a light, and then the light Kind Teton, which is definitely almost like what I call full flex, definitely like a moderate. But then I've got way down lower than that as far as ultralight, super ultralight rods that get that job. I mean, once you're throwing BFS stuff, you don't really have to have a... I feel it's not as important because you already are dealing with small, lightweight rods. Part of the thing about once you get into higher end stuff and it gets more expensive is because instead of having a heavy 7 foot rod, heavy action, and it's going to feel real heavy, you can get into some of these higher end ones, whether it's the Poison Adrena, the NRX, the Destroyer lineup. You know, the higher end stuff gets also very lightweight, a little more sensitive, and gets the job done kind of deal. But with BFS, they got a couple of these I got are very sensitive, and they're already very light because they're only, you know, they're either 6 foot or under, or the ones are like one 6'8", one 6'6", and then everything else is like 5.5 foot. Down to my super ultralight, which is 5'2" and then weighs little or nothing. Middle of cooking. Yeah, I still got the pew pews, but I did get rid of a few. If there's one thing more expensive than fishing, it's going pew pewing. The cost of ammo is kind of crazy, really. Unless you're doing 22, but even 22 isn't as cheap as it used. Man, I remember when I 10, 15, maybe 50. That's probably at least 15 years ago now. I was into the whole 10/22s, man. I had a couple decked out ones. I had like a lightweight one, and then one more heavy with that big bull barrel, big scope. You know, more of like the true like target distance target, as much as you can go with like a 22. And then the other one was just a lightweight carbon fiber barrel. It was my favorite, just because it just kind of looked like, had that meaner look to it. The other one looked more fancy. I don't know if I have pics of those still anywhere or not. I remember buying a whole box for like way less than what the boxes cost now. Like you could just go pew pewing with 22 and no issues with how much you could go fishing with one pack of Cincos and spend more money than you could be shooting the 22 all day long. So anyway, enough about that. Back to fishing. What else do I need? I was going to talk about some other stuff. I guess not. You guys comment what you think. If you, what way would you go? If you have your favorite thing to throw, chatterbaits, you've already got this rod and reel combo. You basically, for your jigs and your spinner baits, you've got this with the Super Destroyer, which is like throws your favorite spinner bait, all that kind of stuff. You've got your swim baits, which they're just a time and a place. Kind of like if I feel a big whopper plopper kind of day, I might also try swim baits. Like I feel the bite has to be on for me to even mess with swim baits here in the Midwest. Otherwise, you're just whistling Dixie. But then we've also, and I guess I'm kind of up in there. Here's the thing, I've been debating. Part of me says just stick with, other than right now, I'm trying out this lose reel, and it may go bye-bye. If there's anything pops up that I don't like about this, it will be going bye-bye. But I may like it. Will I buy any more? Probably never, no. But I may keep it. Depends on how well I like it or don't like it. But I'm debating on keeping all Daiwa stuff or branching back out, which I always do, and then I always end up selling them into Shimano, because part of me wants to hurry up and sell this thing. Oh my God, somebody buy this brew tank, somebody. I want to get, because I keep hearing things about it, but I kept hearing things about this, and I'm not even sure how happy I'm at with this thing. But I have heard a few guys, I've watched a couple different videos, the guy that bought this and the Metanium DC swear that they like the Metanium DC. They were like more impressed with it than they were with this Steez. But I think this may have its little place with that lightweight combo thing. I'm gonna not give up on it yet. Just general thoughts on how much money it costs. You can basically do same thing with this, but just by filling this, I can tell you that you can definitely tell the difference in weight, but that doesn't really matter. Everything nowadays is fairly light anyway. There was a time when your average bait caster weighed over 10 ounces. Like nowadays, you can get a whole combo that weighs under 10 ounces. So we've come a long way, baby. Yeah. I'm still at the point where these, even though they're more money, they're still my favorite. Oh, I forgot. You got to loosen this up because I had to tighten. Look how tight that is. I'll have to readjust it. But when I put this spool in, I had to crank that down to. I think it had the slightest little thing, but yeah, it's definitely a little wider on the shaft than what the stock one is. That's what I put the stock one back in it, and it's definitely a little almost bound up. But I put the drag clicker in these three that I have, and these are definitely what I would call my favorite, you know, for not for the money, but as what I own. Yes. Like if somebody was handing out reels and they're like, do you want this or this? I would take this. Just, you know, it's more money. But it hasn't proven to actually do anything better than what this will. Now, the lightweight stuff, I'm sure it'll throw lighter, but I'm not really throwing lightweights with any of them. I'm throwing, you know, 3/8, quarter. I mean, I throw quarter, but this will throw quarter ounce, no problem. I'd only have it like halfway spooled up, but like you can't really tell any big difference. So I guess here's what I'm trying to get at as I'm beating around the bush. I think I'm going to branch out just a little bit because I've had my favorite chatterbait rod, but I've never really branched into having a couple different chatterbait rods for different weight and size chatterbaits. So what kind of gave me this idea, which has been over a year in the coming, is the fact that once I started throwing the big blade, I come to the realization that I like throwing the big blade with this reel on the tequila baccarat. It just feels better. Like throwing the Z-Man big blade on this and on the tequila baccarat feels basically like, you know, a little bit slightly bigger version felt like throwing a 3/8 ounce or even the quarter or the, you know, regular chatterbaits on the blade with this on it. Like it has that same kind of, you know, the ease, the feel, you know, then of course though, once you hook a fish, the blade is the more fun one to just, you know, it takes a pretty decent sized fish for that tequila baccarat to even notice. The Super Destroyer, like it feels, I mean, it'll do all of that also, but it just feels, once I start throwing that spinnerbait, the spinnerbait is what just feels like better than all of them. And then the rattle trap was Poison Adrena. So I'm kind of starting to get where I'm getting little niche things I like to throw with each rod and reel combo over the last, if you go back and watch some of the videos, you kind of see that. I'm like, oh, it'll throw, you know, even the blade, I can throw the small, because they're the smaller, like the SV3 knockoffs. I can throw it with the blade. It's capable enough. You don't want to go down all the way like to the X Pride. Bruce says he has both poison tail jig molds. I can do quarter to 1 ounce bladed jigs. Need to order hooks, blades, and the wire. Been too lazy. Yeah, so here's my thoughts. This is definitely going to be for like regular size 3/8 and smaller. Like for sure, like that little, I don't have one out, but the little quarter ounce mini max and all those in the 3/8, which is basically these. You know, the whether they're a knockoff or the true jackhammers or whatever in the 3/8 ounce, and they'll throw the half no problem on the blade. But then also you know, when you're throwing these big blades and then maybe even the half or 3/4 ounce, I like the idea of this. But what I'm thinking about doing is trying to get something. And they've got there's a few in the lineup on the Destroyer P5s. There's a tachyon shaft, and then there's another one that are kind of in, on, and around the Super Destroyer and the blade as far as length and powers and all that coming up and down. So I'm tempted because once you're spending $200 to $300 for a rod, you can get them from as they come in stock. Digitaka for like $340. I forget what the exact price, and then they vary a little bit depending on which one's which. But that's where I bought the Super Destroyer used here locally, but then I bought the blade and the Tequila Baccarat from there. Now there's not a warranty, and so I'm like, yeah, I don't know if I want to buy any more Super Destroyer P5s because they're $500 locally. You know, anywhere you'd go buy one, I probably if I bought them like that, I'd probably go through the hookup tackle, buying through them. They do come with there is a warranty, but it's not the greatest warranty. At least with Shimano's like this, I believe the Poison Adrena is like it may cost another $50 to $80, but if I were to break it, I think I can get it replaced. But I think they may have taken it out of their lineup on the newest Poison Adrenas. I don't know if I know they cleared them out, all the older Poison Adrenas, but that 611 Medium Plus, I haven't seen a new one listed anywhere. But the Shimano's do, and the Loomis, of course, have a real good warranty, but I'm debating on trying to find another like niche chatterbait rod. So I know, here's what I could do. I could easily, and I'm debating about doing this, no joke, going to get me another, because they redid the reel seat, 6'9" carbon light. I don't know if it's a 2.0, 3.0, whatever they're calling it now, but that 6'9" is still one that you can't beat the hookup ratio. That rod for chatterbaits was like crazy how well I could just feel a hit and feel like I missed that one and have the fish. That rod was definitely something special when it comes to hookups. Problem is, and it doesn't really have to be as sensitive anyway, though, for chatterbaits, for moving baits in general, I can definitely tell it's a little heavier on the, in hand feel, but not by like a lot. It's not like, trust me, if you're nitpicking, you can tell it's a little heavier, but it's not that big a deal. So here's what I'm thinking about doing. It would be a cheap combo. I'm thinking about getting the Tatula 100, ordering a drag clicker kit, putting maybe a different handle, even drag star and everything. So I have about 200 in it by the time I'm done. And I think, I forget what the carbon light rods are. They're not that, 119, 129, something like that. And then have that chatterbait combo also. But then if I'm never going to throw it and it's just sitting around and I always end up throwing this one. So I'm up in the air. I'm still, and I got time to think about it because there's no hurry. It's still freezing cold around here. Yeah, I know. I sat through this whole with money, like, I mean, that technically I was thinking about then buying, but I didn't know what I wanted, what I needed. But yeah, you're right. I probably should have just bought some gift cards. There's one thing I 100% sure want to get my hands on, but I'm not ready to spend that much money for them. And those are, if you guys tell me if you've seen these or have them or used them. And I have yet to see one with the true underwater footage to see what it's doing, but that spinnerbait, the Beeble, Chi Beeble or whatever from bottoms up, it looks like almost it has it's got a blade in between the two. Let me find, oh my God, here, let me move something. I still haven't put up anything from when I unboxed the Steez. I got like boxes laying around. But so, I still think that's something a guy could make. But for you guys that don't know what I'm talking about, the Chi Beeble, basically from here to down here, you've got a little blade in there that, creates a disturbance, lets it do. I don't think it has enough freedom to truly get chattering like a chatterbait. But what it reminded me of, as soon as I saw it, was oh shoot. What are those little, it's the chatterbait, the little heads with that real little skinny chatterbait blade. It looks like one of those just with holes drilled in it and stuck on a spinnerbait is what it looks like. So I'm thinking there'd be a time and place where that may be a pretty good deal. Every time I see something, they get me. They got me with the Hellraiser. And I mean, those catch fish and all, but man, I don't know if they're worth that much money. But anytime I see something that resembles chatterbait, there's also the spinnerbait that's got the chatterbait blade up here. I've yet to buy one of those, but when I can get these for like $3 off AliExpress, and they're, I bought them and they're working, they're awesome, and they're cheap, and hooks stay sharp. That sucker's caught a lot of fish. This one's caught a lot of fish. It's beat up and only had it for like one season. It caught a lot of fish, but they're 12. The SV3s are like 12, $13, but that other one's like $16, $17 for the Beeble. I just don't know if it would be worthwhile to, because I like these, and then Charles popped up with this cheap, crazy colored one that, I mean, any spinnerbait, these once you get in the smaller ones, are capable of catching fish. Like any spinnerbait, cheap buzz baits, cheap spinnerbaits will catch fish. They're just, but as far as feeling them going through the water, between this SV3 knockoff and then these Z-Man ones, these are the best that I've tried to date. That just, I like the way they work and go through, and they get bit. Maybe not any more than any other spinnerbait would that's in a, kind of a finessey size. But once you kind of put that, I think it's considered 85 millimeter, probably over 3 inches, but it's not 4. I don't think it's 3.5 either. Would be close to that 3.3. Those suckers right there. I can't remember the weight size on this one. This is just the only one they have. They only have one. I think they want to call it 15 grams. I'm not sure, from AliExpress. But then these you can get in a few different sizes. You get a few different blade deals. Those two spinnerbaits, man, in my opinion, in all the spinnerbaits I've ever tried, they are like on another level on how well they do work. As far as you can feel, like I can feel what's going on. I can slow them down. I can speed them up and tell that I'm, like, before they would blow out, or like I can slow them down and know, I can kind of sense when I'm ticking across the top of something, and I know to pick it back up. Because generally, me with spinnerbaits, I'll be honest, like I throw a big old half-ounce Strike King spinnerbait out, and by the time I realize like I'm down into grass or something, it's always like it's caught, and then it's got a chunk of grass up in the blades, and it stops, and I just feel like it's not like a chatterbait, to where I've got that where I can feel it working through stuff. You don't put these anywhere around wood. Do not put these around wood. These I feel, any spinnerbait really, but you can like bounce them off stuff, and I can tell what's going on better because I fished with a very short leader but braid, and pretty especially that Super Destroyer. Once I was throwing this one and this one, but this one in particular, even I think is a little more feedback to you. Just a whole world of difference. But I'm anxious to try the Beeble. That's really the only for sure bait, other than I would like to see them come out with I forget the name of the company that makes it, but that boner color, white. I always want to buy those, and I'm like, oh man, they come out, they're like what, $20, $24 for almost any bait, even the small little square bills and stuff. But that is a good looking color. I'm tempted to see if anybody can paint me up some of my very small, like the little like these guys, or the ATVs in the 1.0 and the 1.5s, and something close to that. Because I tried the color I tried a while back. I tried a whitish crappie imitation, and that, or basically kind of like a Mega Bass White Python. I'm not a fan of that color nowadays, and the bone here color is probably just all about selling it to the fishermen. But any white bait technically is probably good. You guys see this stuff? This glow on. I bought that. I don't know if I've ever even used that. I got it, and I put it on something. This is like, what did I put that on? Like you would get this. I could probably use it on a bait, but you get it, you put it like in your dots or something if you want your sights to have a glow to them. Is what I originally got that for. But yeah, that's a whole different thing. Willow Blade Chatterbait. Sent you a link on Facebook. Okay, I'll check it out. But yeah, the I'm actually, I don't know. I still say there's a bait out there that hasn't been made yet, and I know there's probably hundreds, but there's still a cross out there somewhere that, because I've seen a bunch of different ones. I think I've even seen a chatterbait that also had a little like a drop, like an underspin chatterbait, and they've made all different things. But the Hellraiser's not a bad idea, but I think I like the idea better if you're gonna have a $15 bait that's a topwater bait if it floated, because I decided even though it does get hit, I don't think I'll buy any more because I've already lost one or two. I don't know. I like a whopper plopper. They're hitting a whopper plopper, a buzz bait, which you can still get $7 to $8 buzz baits, and several other walking type. But well, the a pop max or any kind of popper, they float if your line breaks. Or I've had a lot of. You'd be surprised how many times either on a square bill or a popper, I've had a line break for whatever weird reason. I've even thrown it like right over a tree, and it wrapped, and I pulled, and it came off, but then I got hit, and the line instantly snapped, and the bass jumped right up and spit it back out, and then it just floats, and you just go pick it up. I've had that happen a lot of times. I think I've got a few that made it on a couple old original videos here and there, but I like the idea of hard, expensive baits that float because oh like certain jerk baits and but I'm gonna still use the Mega Bass 110 plus one juniors, but a lot of them baits that like you just lose and they're done for. That's why I do not like the idea of spending $15 for a chatterbait or any spinnerbait or anything for that matter. These I feel the big blade and the mini max, because what are they, like $7.95? I mean, they're up there, but just a couple of the colors that you can't really get in the others unless you were try to make your own. So I can justify to myself on buying a few of those in the colors, but then I'm just going to stick with either for sure I'm tempted though to go ahead and get some of the Z-Man originals since I like throwing the big blade. And I think that is roughly the same size hook as what the Z-Man originals are. More of a 5 bigger. Now this blade makes a difference. See how huge that blade is? But the Z-Man original pretty much has a hook close to that size, but a smaller blade. And as long as you still do that, kind of feel the bite and kind of let the rod load up before you then yank, instead of popping their mouths open and popping it right out of their mouth, is kind of the trick to chatterbaits that I'm thinking of trying to, I guess, find a rod that also these regular Z-Mans or that will still throw small ones that's maybe a little less cumbersome than what this is. So keep this. This didn't go anywhere. I'm going to have this and the tequila back rack for swim baits, maybe even bigger jigs, just that the biggest thing I'm going to throw with this tequila back rack. But I like the idea of having, and you guys will see I've got a couple different other power handle things coming a little bit bigger, not this big, but bigger than standard knobs. So I'm thinking about putting a rod together, but I want to stay under 7 foot that is actually as stout or, just a touch stouter than even the Super Destroyer, but maybe with the action slightly different kind of thing. So the Super Destroyer, let me look at this rod again. It is 6 foot. I'm just going to show you guys that those of you that are like, what do you keep talking about Super Destroyer? that don't know, the Megabass Super Destroyer is by far just a very, I'm just going to say it's definitely not as powerful a rod as you can get. The F6, they get more powerful even in Megabass Destroyer lineup. It almost looks like 6'4", but it's 6. Come on, 6'9", quarter to 1 1/4, 12 to 25 pound test. Now, 1/4 ounce bait. Let me look at this. Let me fill this thing. Actually, I mean, you can throw a quarter. You can throw a 1/4 ounce on anything, but to throw it right, this ain't really the rod for 1/4 ounce. But it's got this crazy, I don't even know how to call it. So I kind of need two things. I need another rod that is maybe like the Super Destroyer, but not as parabolic. Well, let me show you what I'm talking about, this Super Destroyer. So the Super Destroyer, if I can get it far enough back to show you, it's very awesome, and it's very good for spinner baits. I think, I mean, for me, it's like what it's made for. And it's real good for chatterbaits. It's just, it's like it's almost overkill for any of the 3/8 or smaller. Like it's a, you know, the big blades wouldn't have a problem with it either, but I'm usually too busy with the spinner bait on it, so I don't like to switch back and forth if I don't have to. But so it definitely bends. I don't know if you guys will be able to see it. Like it's got a pretty good bend even coming into here. But it's a firm, I don't know, this, I know you probably hear people talking about it, but it's hard to explain this, the P5, the way that graphite they claim is kind of like the Poison Adrena. They definitely have a little, you're just sitting there looking at them and feeling them in hand and how light they feel. You would think when you get out there and like set a hook, they're going to be a little softer than you expect. It's kind of like it starts to give and then it tightens up as it bends. It's kind of the only way I can explain it. Even this Tequila Baccarat at 7 foot, it's a F7, which they get heavier. 3/4 to 4 ounce, 12 to 30 pound line. This rod's got like a, I'll try to show you. Like it's not, it doesn't really feel, I think that's why it throws the chatterbait so, or the big blade chatterbait so good. It's a stout rod, but it's got give to it. It's weird. It's like a oxymoron. So I'm seriously thinking about just getting another, just maybe buying not right off the bat, but slowly working and buying every P5 that is in that like 6'3" or 4. Because I don't think I like the idea of a 6 foot P5 rod. Maybe. I think I had the, back in the day, I had the Cliffhanger, not the Cliffhanger. I think actually now they call it the Cliffhanger, but I think it's 6 foot now. And I don't even know if they make a Shading X, but those rods were awesome, but they were more like what the X Pride is what they looked like. Like their blank material was basically like this on steroids. So the old, I think they were called X7s, maybe. Does that sound right? The old Destroyer lineup. But see how this is just that, you can kind of just see the way it's cross-wrapped. The older, and I think that's why I like these rods. The older X7 rods, no, they weren't really like this either. I guess the closest rod I can get nowadays is basically, if you guys can see that weave pattern, wasn't far from this, but those were very good rods. But the Shading X was a 6'6", and the Cliffhanger was a 6'3". And I liked both of those for like shaky heads and stuff. Those were very good rods. I can't remember the power rating. I'd have to look at it. But anyway, Hags also has double wire bait keeper. 24 Steez looks good on X Pride. No, it doesn't. I got one. Brew Tank, chill out, dude. Dun, 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 dun. Let's just see, Brew Tank. Brew Tank sitting here telling me, I think I already put it on here, that the 24 Steez looks good on X Pride. That's blasphemy. Well, look what we got right here. Looky, looky, looky. X Pride, Steez. Let's find out. I think I already put it on here, and I hated it. No, I don't know. No, it doesn't. Yeah, it does look good, I guess. It needs cork. It needs cork knobs. Let's just see. It's got a little dust on it. It doesn't look bad. But what even looks better? Let me show you. Let me show you. Give me a minute. Give me a minute. Oh boy. Oh boy. It's stuck. It won't come off now. I knew I should never put a Daiwa on a Shimano. Where's it at? Where is it at? Let's just try it on. And you guys come in also here. Let's just try it on the Super Destroyer. There's the Super Destroyer. Let me move here. Hang on. I need to get back to. I used to have that black mat. I don't even know what I did with it. I think it was a yoga mat. I bought at Five Below for like $5 and cut it up. Let's try the Super Destroyer. Honestly, this reel looks good, but it doesn't look as good as what I'll show you. But yeah, it looks good on the P5s and it feels real good too. But I just don't like it on this rod. Because hang on, I'll show you. Then I'll put this on the rod it's going to go on. What's funny is this just looks good. You guys look at that. It's hard to make out. Gold is definitely different. That's kind of like a lighter gold. But this looks good. Carbon fiber handle, carbon fiber, carbon fiber. This is just a good looking and filling combo. But the downside, there's two downsides. That finish we've talked about, but it is cold because I'm down. I'm where it's cold now, and I think this is the coldest filling reel I own, other than this, which is a 100% metal, aluminum. This, and I believe that's magnesium, but I think this is even plastic. I think it's that finish. Just is cold filling. When I first grab it, and then it goes away because it's not that cold, but it is colder down here. So I think that the lose in cold weather would be like a no-no. But I'll be honest, the way it's like not only the feel, it's the way it palms. It palms very good on the P5s. Way better than it did on the other rod. It was like horrible. No reel felt good on that rod, but even better. I don't know. I think that's probably where I'll put it and leave it for now. But let's just put this one on. This is what I fished with other than I shortened the handle here a week or so ago. If you guys remember, a lot of you guys like, do not put a loose handle on a Steez, but I'm like, yeah, I do. Yeah, I did it. I did it. There's what I fished with. Pretty much was really liking the Super Destroyer. That was the longer handle. That crazy lose lady, just this size, but I just stuck those knobs onto an 80 millimeter that I'm kind of having a hard time getting used to using 80 millimeter, or getting used to the feel of going back to 80 millimeters after everything I have now is like 85 to 95, or the one's 100. I mean, I can do it no problem, but I don't know if I want to leave it at that. So I think what I'm going to do is, depending on where this reel goes, that reel will go bye-bye. This reel will go on the Super Destroyer. And then I don't even know what I'm going to do with the... Let's just put it on there, though, so you guys can see it. So you have to imagine cork knobs just like this. Basically, only difference on this reel on the blade. Because the blade is only like 97, 98 grams, and then whatever this new Steez weighs. This, I'm telling you right now, even though the Super Destroyer is light, when I put this Steez on this blade, which is only an inch shorter but is lighter by like 3 to 5 grams, something like that, you would think like you can't tell the difference in that. And I do even have the back of it weighted with just a little bit of weight to balance it. I'm telling you right now, this thing right here is so, like, it feels like a BFS combo. How light it is, and it looks good, and there should be no reason why I can't go out there and cast, what does this even say? Yeah, see, this thing's got, like, the rating is very, it says 3/8 to 1 ounce. It's an F5. But I know I can throw, like, well under. That one rod I was holding up that said it goes down to a quarter. I think the Super Destroyer does. I'm like, no, this rod will throw lighter than a Super Destroyer. So sometimes their ratings are a little, I guess when they get to these, they try to get more precise on certain ones, and then other ones they try to turn them into like, oh, it's a more versatile. But yeah, that right here is definitely so right. I'm going to try to show you where I have it balanced. So the weight I have right there is the balance point. So I actually have to where this finger, the way I palm, it's just a very, when you balance something in your hand, for those of you that don't know, it makes it feel lighter. So even though you may have to come back here on the tail end and add, a 1/2 ounce, and you're like, I just made it heavier. But I'm telling you, in hand, it feels so much lighter. Just your wrist having to, you know what I mean, hold that extra weight that is that way when you just get that cantilever type thing, basically. Not cantilever, but you know what I'm saying. But when you add that little bit of weight and you've got a totally balanced setup when you're palming it, holding it, and that's another reason why I have more control, but then I go, instead of from here, if you just go up to here, it takes less, it's just better for that all day. And if you get bigger, heavier rods, that kind of stuff, it takes less weight towards the back. And I'm anxious to get this out on the water and try it, because it just feels better than, oh my God, I lost a reel. Where, oh, there you are, over here, way over here. I thought I didn't, had a magic reel disappearance. So yeah, I can feel, even though this is a very balanced, this is what I originally balanced on, was this thing. I kind of balanced this one more on this finger, like in between them. So like when I go to where I had that one, I can just feel that extra weight. Like this feels like a heavier setup, which it is due to that. Still perfectly, like, trust me, a lot of guys be like, how light that combo is and can handle chatterbait stuff is very good. So yeah, actually I'm curious just to see what this one feels like on here. Yeah, this is definitely a heavier reel too. I can just feel that. How heavy is that thing? That thing just feels like it's about as heavy as that. I don't even remember. I have to look at the box. That definitely feels not as light as what that other... Let me see what a Steez feels like. These are pretty lightweight reels too. Okay, yeah, that feels pretty light. That's definitely closer. But this takes the cake. And now I could take that old Abu Garcia I got over there. MG Extreme 2. Oh yeah, you can tell this thing. Like sometimes you can just go off the weight, like the difference between, you know, this D's to this D's, you know, it may show numbers, you know, on paper, maybe, oh yeah. But you can feel that difference. It's not huge, but you can tell. Like, yeah, that's definitely lighter. It has that lighter feel in the hand. So yeah, I'm anxious to get it out and try it on that. See how light of stuff I can throw. It should with the smaller spool. All right, what was Bruce Tank talking about? Yeah, the Lose the Lose is a good looking reel and it functions good. Like I've out there doing the cast testing. Like I feel at that setting I had it on and I was throwing the baits. You know, turned down pretty low. I was casting hard and it wasn't wanting to fluff up or backlash, and then I could still just do little light pitches. I mean, it was. I need to get out. I haven't really went out and tested any of these. This new, well, any these I fish forever, but I need to test this spool and this reel on like lightweight, I guess, pitching and stuff, just to see if they compare. Because I'm sure that the Steez limited shallow spools should beat those and just how light a bait you can throw, but I'm anxious to try see what this guy does also. So be looking forward to if we ever get a day that's like above either I don't know 10 to 15 degrees above freezing, maybe. Like we've only got to freezing once, but just for like an hour or so. By the time I get home, it's always back below freezing again. So it has to be on a weekend in at least 40 to, I'd prefer 55-degree day. That's when these don't go numb. But anyway, yeah, I like just the way I guess that just not necessarily the colors match, but this the fanciness of that they have on, you know, the Super Destroyer. Because anytime you take these, just where there's so much like silver going on, that it's I guess it doesn't clash a lot, but it's honestly these I think probably look better on the Poison Adrena, especially if you put the Poison Adrena's just got a hit of red on a couple of the I forget what they even call those around the wraps, but like the oh shoot, there's a name for it when you put it right at the ends or whatever. It's escaping me right now, but anyway, the Poison Adrena. These on it, actually, I had this. This is the one I run on the Poison Adrena. You could put like a red something on it somewhere here or there, and these would look more matched up to a Poison Adrena. And the X Pride, the way it's got silver, a lot of silver stuff on it. These have that gold. But if you add just a few, like I did on the handle, and then that adjuster, they don't look bad. But yeah, this reel right here, just the way it's got the stuff, it just kind of, I don't know. If it didn't say Lose on it, it'd be like, yeah, is that the, you know, new Mega Bass version of a Daiwa? Sure it is. Well, sure it is. No, it's not. All right, guys, I better get out of here. I still got to go shower from the gym. I'm kind of starting to smell something. I thought it was this bait. I thought it was some of these soft plastics. I don't think it is. Is that stink bait? Nope. That ain't what it was. But anyway, all seriousness. You need that dark sleeper P5. Oh, the one you got? See, those are how long is the dark? Is it 7 foot or is it like 7.3 or 7.2 or 7.1? All right. See you, Bruce. Have a good night. Yeah, I wouldn't mind getting a P5 dark sleeper, but you'd have to pay shipping to get it to me. That's probably, I don't even know what shipping would cost on a rod nowadays. I haven't shipped one in a while. So the shipping cost, I know what you want, but I don't know if I want to get rid of any of them yet because they may be getting harder and harder to come by. As of right now, I mean, I know you could track down a used one, but where did it go? This one, the regular Steez Limited, not the shallow, is no longer available in Right. The shallow spools are still there, but they are still selling for more than the new Steez. And until I get out and see if I like, I think it's a little, definitely a touch smaller overall. I don't think I like the paint as well. I'm telling you, I look at it one way and I look at a dark polished primer look it's got, but then it looks real good in other lighting and ways. So I don't know, it's hard to tell. It definitely doesn't look as good as this, in my opinion, that finish. But there's something that's got a good clean look about it. It needs cork knobs to go on my the intended rod. But they've definitely like blacked out everything. I still kind of like the idea just that the fancier Daiwas have like gold, even on the old school ones, the fancier ones, the line guide, whether before it was a T-wing or whatever, just had a gold. It was just kind of almost like a trademark for the fancy Daiwas had that, and the ones that weren't as fancy didn't. And then now they kind of, you can get it on this one. I think the Steez A's have it maybe, but these limited and the new Steez stuff, they've kind of went away from it. But yeah, I'm thinking about getting that Tatula ordered up. Just run over to this Bass Pro over here and buy one of the 6'9". Building another kind of all-around rod. Then that is also one that I'm not afraid of. If it gets a little beat and banged up, I don't. You're basically. I'm thinking for about $350, you can have one. It'll be an awesome chatterbait setup with a boost capability thing, right? So it should cast, and maybe I'll get one of those, and then we can check the Tatula boost compared to these boosts and all this boost and that kind of stuff. So, and we can do it all with our new chesty we got. When I track down the GoPro, I think is sitting in my range bag with, I'm sure, dead batteries all in it, along with it. So anyway, guys, thanks for watching tonight. Stay tuned. I'll let you guys know as there should be baits. They're starting to come in because they were all ordered at the same time. The baits and this and a bunch of stuff. So we should be able to get. I'll be doing some live stream unboxing, and we can talk more about if I ordered something and if I didn't. If I talked myself into going and buying up the Kagi rods or not, which I don't know. Once Brew Tank, he'll know what I'm talking about, or any of you guys that's fished. Once you get into a little bit higher end rods, it's hard to go back. Like you're like, okay, because way back when, I got that Fantasista rod, and then I got a couple of the Megabass rods. I bought a real old Megabass. I've had a couple old ones, and even when I had the Dobbins rods, but the Dobbins rods, although they had good actions and stuff, they just felt heavier and more tip heavy than when you get in them higher ends like that Abu Garcia Fantasista. I think at the time that rod was like a $500 rod. I picked it up on eBay for like $85. Nobody knew what it was. The guy had like a weird wrap thing put on the handle. You couldn't make out exactly what it was, kind of deal. Then I picked up another one, the lighter version. I sold them to Jeremy. I think he broke one. He broke the light one. But anyway, yeah, stay tuned. Got more coming. Yeah, I gotta go. I gotta go shower. I will talk to you guys later. And brew tank, I don't know. You let me know what you got to have for that. I'll look it up again to see exactly one. Because the dark sleeper is, it was intended for the dark sleeper, but it's kind of like a, it's also good for like a football or even a light football jig rod too, right? Am I not mistaken? Maybe you'd be interested in a trade in on this dude. You know you need another one of these. Did you ever buy the new one? This needs to go to a good home because I just don't want to fish it. I just want to sell it. It's got a couple little scuffs. If you really look, you can see them. Like if you really look, you can see them. And then when you're out here holding it like this, you can barely make out. This side, I don't know. Maybe that might be one little scuff right there. Now, I didn't do any of this. I think, didn't I? I think, did I buy this used? I don't remember how I got this. I remember I think I sold to Charles and then got it back. Because he got those, if you remember, him and Jay were both talking about, and then he got those cheaper ones from AliExpress. And he went with those, but I miss the good old days when everything clickety-clicked. All right, guys, I got to go. Let me know, Brew Tank. Thanks for watching.